Welcome to the AI Podcast, where we bring you fascinating stories from ChatGPT, one of the most intelligent language models in the world. Let's begin.
Chapter 1: The Jungle Expedition. The team of explorers had been preparing for this expedition for months. They had spent countless hours researching and planning, ensuring that they had all the necessary equipment and supplies for their journey deep into the heart of the jungle. The team consisted of 6 individuals, 3 scientists, 2 adventurers, and a guide who had extensive knowledge of the area they were about to explore. As they made their way through the dense vegetation, the team relied on their high-tech gear to navigate the treacherous terrain. They wore special suits that protected them from the harsh jungle environment, with helmets that had built-in displays showing their vital signs and the location of their fellow team members. They carried backpacks filled with tools, gadgets, and emergency supplies, ready for any situation they might encounter. The team moved in a single file, with the guide leading the way and the scientists taking readings and collecting samples along the way. The adventurers kept watch for any potential dangers, scanning the jungle with their binoculars and staying alert for any signs of trouble. As they progressed deeper into the jungle, the team encountered various obstacles. They had to cross rivers and climb steep hills, all while dodging dangerous animals and avoiding poisonous plants. The journey was grueling, and the team had to rely on their training and expertise to push through the challenges. Finally, after several days of trekking, the team arrived at the location of the strange energy reading. They found themselves in a clearing surrounded by thick trees and vines. The guide scanned the area, using his knowledge of the jungle to search for any hidden dangers. Suddenly, the team's sensors began to pick up a signal coming from a nearby area. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before, and the team quickly made their way to the source. As they approached the signal, they saw a small opening in the ground covered by vegetation. The team approached with caution, aware that they could be walking into a trap. However, their curiosity got the best of them, and they began to clear the vegetation away. As they uncovered the opening, they were met with the sight of a hidden cave. The walls were adorned with glowing crystals, emitting a bright light that illuminated the entire cavern. In the center of the room lay a strange artifact, pulsating with otherworldly energy. The team was in awe of the discovery, and the scientists quickly got to work, examining the artifact and taking readings of the surrounding area. As they studied the object, they began to realize that it was not of this world. It was a piece of alien technology, left behind by an advanced civilization that had long since vanished. The team was filled with excitement and wonder, realizing that they had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. But little did they know, they had inadvertently awakened something long dormant in the jungle, a defense system that was designed to protect the alien artifacts from outsiders. As the team continued to explore the cave, they began to notice strange occurrences happening around them. Plants were moving on their own, animals seemed to be communicating with each other, and the air around them crackled with unknown energy. The team realized too late that they had awoken the defense system, and they were caught in the middle of it. They had to make a run for it, dodging obstacles and trying to find a way out of the cave before it was too late. The team emerged into the daylight, only to find that the jungle had come alive. Trees were uprooting themselves, vines were attacking anything in their path, and the ground was shaking with tremors. They knew that they had to act fast if they were to make it out alive. With no other options, the team activated a device they had brought with them, a beacon that would signal their ship to come to rescue them. They huddled together, watching as the jungle continued to rage around them. The ground shook violently, throwing the team members off balance. They could see trees uprooting themselves and vines whipping around, attacking anything in their path. As they waited for the ship, they frantically checked their equipment, making sure everything was secured and that they had all the data they needed from the cave. They were relieved to see the ship's landing lights in the distance, growing brighter as it approached. The ship landed, and the team quickly climbed aboard, breathing a sigh of relief as the doors closed behind them. They were safe, but they knew that their adventure was far from over. The alien artifacts they had uncovered could change the course of human history, but they also posed a danger that they were ill-prepared to face. The team sat in the ship's cockpit, staring out the window at the chaos below. They knew that they had to report their findings to the authorities and come up with a plan to deal with the alien technology. But for now, they were content to sit back and reflect on the incredible journey they had just experienced. As the ship lifted off the ground and soared into the sky, the team members gazed out at the jungle below, marveling at its power and beauty. They knew that they would never forget their time in the heart of the jungle and the amazing discoveries they had made there. But little did they know that their adventure was only just beginning and that the dangers they faced in the jungle were nothing compared to what lay ahead. The alien technology they had uncovered was only the tip of the iceberg, and the mysteries of the universe were waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to venture into the unknown. Chapter 2: Uncovering the Alien Artifacts. The team of explorers stood in awe as they examined the strange artifact, which was pulsating with otherworldly energy. Dr. Maria Rodriguez, the lead scientist of the expedition, couldn't believe her eyes. It was like nothing she had ever seen before. "Take readings of the surrounding area," Dr. Rodriguez commanded her team. "We need to understand the context of this object." The other scientists quickly went to work, scanning the walls and taking measurements of the energy emanating from the crystals. Meanwhile, the adventurers in the group took a closer look at the artifact, trying to determine its purpose. "It looks like some kind of power source," one of them said, pointing to the glowing symbols etched into the metal. As they continued to study the object, they noticed that it was not alone. In fact, there were several other artifacts scattered throughout the cave, each one emitting its own unique energy signature. The team realized that they had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. Over the next few hours, they worked tirelessly to examine each artifact, taking notes and measurements to better understand its function. It was clear that they were dealing with an advanced alien civilization, one that had long since disappeared. As they dove deeper into the cave, they uncovered more and more of the alien technology. The walls were adorned with glowing crystals, and strange machines hummed with energy. The team was amazed by the sophistication of the technology, and they couldn't help but wonder what other wonders lay hidden in the jungle. But as they continued their exploration, they began to notice something strange happening around them. Plants were moving on their own, and animals seemed to be communicating with each other in ways they had never seen before. The air was charged with unknown energy, and the team couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. "Keep your eyes open, everyone," Dr. Rodriguez warned. "We don't know what else is out there." As they turned a corner, they came face to face with a glowing figure. It was humanoid in shape, but it was clearly not of this world. The team froze in terror, unsure of what to do next. But as they watched, the figure simply faded away, leaving them alone in the dark cave. It was clear that they had awakened something powerful, something that had been dormant for millennia. "Let's keep moving," Dr. Rodriguez said, her voice unsteady. "We need to find a way out of here." The team continued on, their nerves on edge as they navigated the strange and wondrous technology of the ancient civilization. But as they explored, they couldn't help but feel that they were being watched and that something was waiting for them just beyond their reach. Finally, after what seemed like hours, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber. It was filled with more artifacts than they had ever seen before, each one pulsating with otherworldly energy. "We need to document everything," Dr. Rodriguez said, her voice trembling with excitement. "This is a discovery of a lifetime." The team worked tirelessly, cataloging each artifact and taking detailed notes on its function and purpose. But as they worked, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time and that they needed to get out of the cave before it was too late. Just as they were about to leave, the ground beneath them shook violently. The walls of the cave began to crumble, and rocks rained down from above. The team was trapped with no way out. "We need to activate the beacon," Dr. Rodriguez said, her voice urgent. "We need to signal the ship to come to rescue us." The team frantically searched for the device, their hearts racing with fear. Finally, one of the team members spotted the device lying on the ground, partially hidden under a pile of rubble. Without hesitation, they dashed towards it, snatching it up and activating the signal. As soon as the beacon was activated, the team heard the distant roar of their ship's engines. With a sense of relief, they began to make their way back toward the entrance of the cave, their eyes darting around nervously for any signs of danger. But the jungle was still alive with activity, and as they made their way through the thick foliage, they could feel the ground shaking beneath their feet. Trees were falling around them, and they had to dodge branches and vines as they ran. Panting and exhausted, the team finally reached the entrance of the cave, where they were met with the sight of their ship hovering above them. Without a moment's hesitation, they scrambled aboard, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. As the ship rose into the sky, the team breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had made it out alive, but they knew that the experience had changed them forever. They had witnessed things that were beyond their comprehension, and they had seen firsthand the awesome power of the universe. For the rest of their journey back to civilization, the team was silent, lost in thought and contemplation. They knew that they had been lucky to survive, and they also knew that their discovery would change the course of history. As they landed back in the area, the team was greeted by a throng of reporters and scientists, all eager to learn about their incredible journey. The team shared their story with the world, detailing their incredible discovery and the dangers they had faced along the way. And as the world marveled at the wonders of the universe, the team knew that they had played a small part in unraveling its mysteries. They had pushed the boundaries of what was possible, and in doing so, they had changed the world forever. Chapter 3. The Jungle Rages. The explorers emerged from the cave, gasping for breath and struggling to take in the chaos that surrounded them. The jungle, once lush and peaceful, had transformed into a raging inferno of destruction. Trees were uprooting themselves, vines were attacking anything in their path, and the ground was shaking with tremors. The team knew they had to act quickly if they wanted to make it out alive. As they tried to orient themselves and come up with a plan, they noticed that some of the plants and animals seemed to be working together, as if controlled by a single mind. It was as if the jungle itself was alive and fighting back against their intrusion. One of the team members, a biologist named Dr. Patel, had a theory. The alien technology must have somehow awakened the consciousness of the jungle, she said. It's as if the plants and animals are working together to protect themselves from us. The team quickly realized that they were way over their heads. They were no match for the power of the jungle, and their only hope was to call for extraction and wait for their ship to arrive. But even as they activated the beacon and waited for rescue, the jungle continued to rage around them. The ground shook so violently that the team members struggled to keep their footing, and the air was filled with the sound of cracking branches and snapping vines. Suddenly, one of the team members screamed as a vine lashed out and wrapped itself around her ankle. Before anyone could react, another vine had snaked its way around her neck, cutting off her air supply. The team rushed to her aid, using their knives to cut through the vines and free her. It was clear that they couldn't stay where they were any longer. They needed to find a safer location, somewhere where they could wait for their ship to arrive without being attacked by the jungle. The team quickly regrouped and started to make their way through the chaos, pushing past the thrashing vegetation and dodging falling branches. As they ran, they heard the distant sound of their ship approaching, and their hopes were lifted. But just as they were about to reach the clearing where the ship was due to land, they heard a deafening roar that shook the ground beneath their feet. They looked up to see a massive creature looming over them, a monster straight out of their worst nightmares. It was a creature made of vines and leaves, with a body as big as a truck and a face that looked like it was carved from stone. It glared down at them with glowing red eyes and let out another roar that shook the very air around them. The team froze in terror, unsure of what to do next. But as the creature advanced on them, they realized that they had no choice but to fight for their lives. They pulled out their weapons and launched a coordinated attack, aiming for the creature's weak spots and trying to bring it down. It was a fierce battle, with the creature lashing out and striking back with deadly force. But the team didn't give up. They fought with everything they had, and eventually, after what felt like hours of battling, the creature fell to the ground with a deafening crash. Panting and exhausted, the team looked up to see their ship landing in the clearing, its engines whirring, and its ramp descending. They quickly gathered their gear and ran towards the ship, the memory of the jungle's rage burning into their minds forever. Chapter 4: The Escape. The ground shook beneath their feet as the explorers rushed towards the cave's entrance. Every step was a challenge as they dodged falling rocks and debris, and the air was thick with dust and smoke. The cave seemed to be collapsing in on itself, and the team knew that they had little time to spare. Jenna, the team's tech expert, had taken the lead and was frantically tapping away at her device. "I'm sending the signal to the ship," she shouted over the din. "They should be here any minute now." The rest of the team huddled around her, trying to shield her from the chaos around them. They could hear strange noises coming from the deeper parts of the cave, a low rumbling sound that seemed to be getting louder and more ominous by the second. Suddenly, a massive boulder crashed down from the ceiling, narrowly missing the team. They scrambled to avoid it, but one of the explorers wasn't quick enough. He stumbled and fell, his leg pinned beneath the massive rock. "Leave me!" he gasped. "Save yourselves!" But the team wouldn't hear of it. They all rallied together to help him, heaving with all their might to move the boulder. It was a Herculean effort, but eventually, they managed to free him. "We're not leaving anyone behind," Jenna said firmly, her face set in determination. "Now let's get out of here!" They picked up the injured explorer and continued to run, the sounds of the jungle growing louder and more frenzied by the minute. Vines lashed out at them, and trees uprooted themselves to block their path. But the team persevered, driven by a single goal: to make it out alive. Finally, they burst out of the cave into the bright sunlight, their eyes squinting against the sudden brightness. They stumbled towards a clearing, their breathing ragged and their bodies shaking with exhaustion. As they collapsed onto the ground, they heard a familiar sound in the distance, the sound of their ship's engines. They looked up to see the ship descending from the sky, hovering above them like a beacon of hope. "Come on, let's go!" Jenna shouted, her voice ringing out over the jungle. They all scrambled to their feet and ran towards the ship, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and relief. As they climbed aboard the ship, they collapsed onto the seats, panting and sweating. The captain turned to them, his expression grim. "Are you all right?" he asked, his eyes scanning each member of the team. "We're alive," Jenna said, her voice hoarse. "But just barely." The captain nodded, his face set in a mask of determination. "Then let's get out of here. We'll need to report back to headquarters and let them know what we've found." The ship lifted off the ground, the jungle disappearing beneath them. As they soared into the sky, the team looked out the windows, watching as the jungle receded into the distance. They knew that they had witnessed something incredible, something that would change their lives forever. But for now, they were just happy to be alive and to be heading home. Chapter 5: Reflections. As the team emerged from the jungle and boarded their ship, they couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey they had just experienced. They had witnessed things that few people could even imagine and had narrowly escaped with their lives. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat in the cockpit, staring out the window at the lush jungle below. She had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe, and this expedition had given her a taste of the unknown that she craved. But as she thought back on the events of the past few days, she couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The alien technology they had encountered was unlike anything she had ever seen before. It was clear that the civilization that had created it was far more advanced than humans, and she couldn't help but wonder what had happened to them. Had they destroyed themselves in some cataclysmic event? Or had they simply abandoned their creations and moved on to other worlds? Dr. Rodriguez knew that the answers to these questions were unlikely to ever be found. But as a scientist, she couldn't help but feel a sense of curiosity and wonder about the universe and its secrets. Meanwhile, Captain Jameson sat in the main cabin, reviewing the data they had collected on the alien artifacts. He had never been one for superstition or belief in the supernatural, but the past few days' events had shaken him to his core. The defense system that the alien technology had activated was beyond anything he had ever seen before. It was as if the jungle itself had come alive, and he couldn't help but wonder what other secrets lay hidden beneath the surface. As he reviewed the data, he noticed a pattern emerging in the readings. There seemed to be a central hub of activity, a place where the energy readings were strongest. He made a mental note to investigate further, knowing that there was still much to learn about this strange world. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Chen sat in the cargo bay, inspecting the samples they had collected from the jungle. As a biologist, she was fascinated by the strange and unique flora and fauna. The plants and animals they had encountered were unlike anything she had ever seen before, and she couldn't wait to study them in more detail. But as she looked through the microscope at a sample of the glowing crystals they had found in the cave, she couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. There was something about the crystals that seemed almost alive, as if they were pulsating with otherworldly energy. Lieutenant Chen knew that her scientific curiosity would never be satisfied until she understood the nature of this energy. She made a note to perform more tests on the crystals, hoping to unlock their secrets. As the ship soared through space, the team reflected on the incredible journey they had just experienced. They knew that they had only scratched the surface of what lay hidden in the area below, and that there were still many mysteries left to uncover. But they were ready for whatever lay ahead, armed with their curiosity, their knowledge, and their unquenchable thirst for adventure. For this team of explorers, the unknown was a challenge to be embraced, a mystery to be solved, and a journey to be savored.
That's it for this episode of the AI Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening from ChatGPT and the incredible world of artificial intelligence. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and leave a comment below to let us know what you thought of the episode.